In this video, I'm going to talk about a few of the varieties of fusible web that I use and what some of the differences are and the similarities. All the products that I discuss in this video are easily located at either your local craft or quilt store, or you can also get these online as well. These are some of the varieties that I personally use, and the thing that they all have in common is that they are used for putting fabric onto another piece of fabric, sometimes something else, but this is a fusible product. So what it is essentially doing is gluing a fabric to another fabric, and that's how we use it in Appliqué. All the fusible products that I use basically work in the same way. They have a paper side to them, and then they also have a shiny side. This is actually the glue side. So the Steam is a little bit different because it's actually 3 layers. There's a grid side that you would trace your thing onto, and there's a paper side on the bottom that's protecting the gluey area. And this product here, you can put it down on your fabric and then you can pick it up very easily. It's designed for easy movability of your applique pieces. So that's one difference with this product. But these products basically work the same. They all sort of have a different weight. Like this one is called a featherweight. So theoretically it's quite thin. This one is less thin, I guess. And you can get them on rolls, you can get them on a bolt, or you can get them in packages that are designed for your printer. So my only suggestion, real suggestion, is if you're going to, whichever product you choose, and honestly, they will all work for this project that we're doing, just read the instructions for adhering. So they all have slightly different instructions for how you get them down. They all involve an iron, obviously, because you have to activate that glue. But whether you use steam or not, or how long you hold it down for, these are instructions that you really have to pay attention to when you're using this fusible product. So the other thing I want to say about all of these fusible products is that the paper size can be put through your printer. Now, this is very dependent on your particular printer and how it works and how it's going to take all these different sheets. But I have run these sheets through my printer with great success, and I tend to do that regularly. The other thing I want to say is if you do buy something on a bolt or a roll, I have also taken a piece off the roll and cut it 8.5 by 11 to fit my printer, and I've run it through the printer just by cutting it down, and that also works. Okay, and so the other thing that we can do with these products is we just lay them out on top of the pattern and we trace, and that's why we have this top paper piece. And that's a fine way to go if you don't have a printer. I'm not a fan of tracing, so I always am looking for the print option. And again, if you want to try to use your printer, just practice with it first to make sure that your printer will take this paper and also that you're feeding it in the proper way. And that's just a little bit of trial and error. So lastly, I just want to say that there are a lot of different fusible products on the market. You just want to pick something that will work for you. You might end up trying a couple different brands and find you prefer one brand over the other, but you'll get used to that as you work with more fusibles and do different appliques. I didn't try to print the witchy hat onto fusible because I've had to put this pattern together with tape. I'm just going to go ahead and trace these pieces. The witchy boots and legs I was able to print with my printer. I used Steam for this one. And actually the sheets were a little larger than 8.5 by 11, which is what I require for my printer. So I did end up cutting those sheets down a little bit and ran them through. And you can see that it didn't print perfectly. I can use this, but you can see that the paper slipped a little bit, and so the pattern is very close to the edge, but entirely still usable. Okay, so now that I have my pattern assembled and I have these pages printed onto Fusible Web, we'll set it aside and we'll come back to this at a later step. And actually, when we come back, I think I'll trace this pattern piece onto a different type of fusible so that I can show you the subtle differences between the two. But for now, we'll set it aside and we'll move on to the next step.